Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sherman School. This meeting held in Sherman School Auditorium / Gymnasium is an open session of the Roselle Park Board of Education held under the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger, local source, home news review, borough clerk, school offices, and district website. Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
President Miller.
Here.
Vice President Sokol. Here. Mr. Balaban. Mr. Ruckelstein.
Here.
Mr. Dam.
Here.
Mr. Gerton.
Here.
Mr. Harms.
Here.
Mr. Nelson.
Here.
Mr. Vita. We have a quorum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a brief note before public participation. Mr. Vita unfortunately cannot be here tonight. There was a conflict that the ECC had their back to school night tonight, and his daughter is currently enrolled there. So he told me more than happy to do his fatherly duties. So he sends his regrets. With that said, we'd like to start the public participation portion of tonight's meeting. For agenda items only, if you'd like to speak on any agenda item, please come forward, state your name, address, and what item you'd like to speak on. Personnel, new position. What is the new position?
Jake, we are interviewing for what is going to be called at the ECC Early Childhood Director, and that person is going to have a dual role. They're also going to be a literacy coach for the district. So that's the new position that you are
Then why is this a closed session item?
because it's personal. It's a personal issue.
Okay. Item number 9, balance literacy initiative. What is this? The funds are coming from NCLB funds. What is that?
NCLB stands for No Child Left Behind. It's one of the entitlement grants that all New Jersey public schools receive, including Roselle Park. And this was in particular charged to Title I because it deals with literacy.
How much money do we have in that fund?
How much is the grant?
How much money is
Do we receive from that grant? The total, I don't have the figure with me, but it is over $300,000. I can get you the exact figure for the next meeting, if you'd like. It was approved on a previous agenda. You could also look back in your old agendas, and you would find that probably approved in the June or July meeting. And it would have the exact dollar amount.
Who controls those funds? The Board of Ed or the municipality?
Board of Ed. The state gives the funds to the local Board of Education. It's school money.
Then you realize interest from that money that's sitting in the bank?
We do not get interest. No, that money comes to us once we spend it. We work on a reimbursement. We spend it, I apply for reimbursement, and the government gives us the money back.
But you said you have $300,000 in that fund.
You asked how much was the grant. That's the grant award is for over $300,000. As we spend it on particular items, must apply on the internet. There's a computerized software that the state uses where I have to ask for reimbursement, give all the documentation, and they send the money back to us. So they don't give it to us ahead of time. It's after it's spent.
So here's on 150 Berwyn Street, agenda item 16B. That was the last company that came in,
Yes.
and it's basically $1,000 a month retainer, 75-hour grant writing. So how does that work? Do they notify the board if there's a grant opportunity?
Actually, I spoke to Mr. Farmer, who's the president of the company, and what we will do is we will have an initial meeting, and at that meeting we will set up some kind of system that we will provide them with those needs or those special needs that we would look for. They will go out, research and search for grants, come back to the district, tell us what's that we can apply for.
Thank you. And also, this $75 an hour, is that all they're going to receive, or do they receive what other grant writers do, which is a percentage?
No, they do not receive.
So they just receive a flat rate?
Just the flat rate. It's the $1,000 a month retainer, and then for the actual writing of the grant, it will be $75,000 an hour.
So if you get a grant for like $25,000 and it comes up to $20,000, at least we're $5,000 ahead. That's a good start.
$5,000 a head. That's a very optimistic way of looking at things, yes.
I hope I'm low on that 25.
That's a low.
I hope it's like 100 or 500.
We're hoping for that, yes.
The last one, 22, the grant acceptance. I'm just asking for clarification. Is this from the state, the extraordinary aid?
Extraordinary aid, yes. And again, at the previous board meeting, we approved the original grant amount, but when all was said and done, the state found that there was a little additional money in their funds, so then they redispersed to all of the school districts that received extraordinary aid a small percentage additional, and Roselle Park got an additional $2,499.
Can that be used for anything, or does it need to be used for a specific?
Extraordinary aid is for special education purposes.
So it'll be used for the special education
Yeah.
program in the school.
Yes.
Thank you.
Before I close the public participation portion of me, I just spoke to our attorney, and it's concerning Mr. Pearson's one on 16B about the grant writing services, and I wanted to add language to that we omitted it. That is to, and it'll be an addendum, and to be a revision for the record to have a ceiling of no more than $20,000 to be spent. Or are you?
In a 12-month period or what?
Well, in
Or hour?
during the contract time, from November 1st to June 30th. So when that comes about in business, then
This is an extra $8,000 to spend on grant writing.
right.
So basically, we're capping the grant writing at,
20,000.
Well,
no, at 8,000.
at 8,000, but
With the
with the ability to add more, as you normally do, is that you put a cap on it so that individuals get carte blanche. If we find out that, hey, look, there's a great grant out there, we get $500,000, I don't think the board is going to stop this gentleman from writing to get that $500,000, so you would just have to approve X amount of dollars more at the same hourly rate.
Is the contractor statement of work, does it have the cap in it?
Well, that's what you would put the cap in there, whether it's in this writing here, I mean, you could make it different to this, but in the contract,
Right.
if you're signing it, you would put
Right.
it in that. That's more important than what's in here.
That's where it's supposed to go. That's what we can talk about.
Right.
So again, that's more important than,
And I don't know, has anybody, I didn't receive the contract, I don't know if anybody else.
It should be,
Isn't
that should be
everybody
every
at work?
yeah, every board.
Isn't everybody at work?
We have the nurses.
Proposal. Thank you. It says proposal, not contract. And it doesn't. Yeah, this is the, yeah, no, it needs to have that language, the cap in there.
there's modifications to that particular, line.
And then we'll sign it
And we'll sign it, so it's in there.
Right. Great.
While we're talking about that though, one of the things that had come up is we still have to, as a board, approve the applying for each individual grant. Or as the board approve grants, we approve for the application of the grant, and then we approve for the acceptance, right? So that still has to
That'll be
happen.
on a monthly basis when we, I'm not going to do it generically, just.
Well, because we've said, you know, we've given, allocated $8,000 for this.
Not
I
to
didn't
exceed.
know if there was a way to have a little sooner. Of the soccer ball.
Okay.
Or coffee.
All right. So with that, yes, Jane? The Roselle High School Marching Band? Mr. Damon, will take that?
What would you like to know, Jake? What would you like to know?
This is the first time I'm noticing that this is something you showed up.
Okay. What we have to do is, like any other stuff that we do, is we have to get permission from the school board to go to different competitions. You know, we just cannot take this on our own. It's something that the board approves because there's logistics with busing. And all teams do it, you know, whether it's football, this or that. A lot of times, you know, when we went to Greeley recently, which was last week, sometimes the bus will come and go back and forth twice. Other times in the marching band, parents will bring the kids to the event. Just so there's approval so that nobody gets in trouble. Right? Just, you know, approval of, you know that something's going on, just like the last trip. And just while we're talking,
Traveling to different.
yeah, traveling, letting people know. And then at this weekend coming up, we're going to have our home show here. We're going to be here very early, but it's going to start around 6 o'clock. It'll go on till pretty much 11 o'clock at night. We brought in food trucks this year, rather than trying to cook all the food that we've normally done, you know, at the stand. So there'll be things we're going to sell at the stand, but we're bringing food trucks, you know, to alleviate a lot of stress and problems because, unfortunately, a lot of parents don't always want to help out. You know, and it's a big event. We have a lot of schools coming in, a lot of buses, a lot of dealing with parking issues, this and that. But it's a great event. We make some money out of it, and the kids have a great time, and they have the pride of, you know, it's at our homes, you know, and they get to perform. The only thing, they get scored on it, the only thing they don't get is a trophy because it's our show. But, you know, it's cumulative of points coming through the year. We're almost halfway through the year. Next is Thomas River, West Essex champions, and then we finish up at Hershey Stadium in Pennsylvania. You know, the kids love it. It's probably one of the best things, you know, we can possibly do. And our band is small this year, but mighty, and they're very good, and we're hoping for a very high scores when we get to Hershey.
Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Dam. Yeah, they are very good. They are small, but the sound.
It's our,
Was it?
overlay.
Small and mighty, very good. Okay, we're going to close the first
Oh,
public
sorry.
participation. Sure.
Actually, this year, at the beginning of the show, we have a lot of alumni band coming. We have 30 to 35 people that used to play in the band. They're going to do national anthem this year. So it's going to be, very nice. So if anybody can come out, it'd be a great thing.
Put it in that time of 6 p.m. to 11 p.m.
I believe it's starting at 6. You can check the band website or just to make sure, but I believe we're kicking off at 6.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dam. And now we're on to committee reports. Does anyone have a report on their committees?
Yeah. The facilities committee met to review the marquee out in front of the high school. We have 3 quotes. We've gone over with the computer, Mike Estrada, with the facilities. I'll go up there. And we kind of got it, it's going to cost the cost of $26,000. The committee feels that the recommendation from the business administrator and the Mike Estrada and the plant manager is a good one. It's going to have multiple colors, which gives a better resolution to it. It also it's wireless, so you can take it from there and put it on the internet. Jeff was asking about this last time we spoke about this, about putting it on Facebook and that kind of thing. So it's capable of doing that. So again, the reason why we didn't get bids for it is because it's not over the threshold of $36,000. So we're just letting you know that we are doing it, that we recommend to go forward with it to get it as soon as possible, unless there's somebody on the board who has something they don't want to bring up, any other suggestions on it, then a recommendation from the facilities committee is to go along with it and get it done. It's something that we need, and I think it'll help us to get advertisement out of the things that we're doing in our schools, whether it's our elementary schools, middle school, and high school. So I think it's going to be a well-spent money for what we want to do.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ramos, I was distracted. What was the number?
It was $26,000.
Okay, and it's a scrolling digital?
It is a scroll. We can do it whatever it is, and from what I understand, Ray Sue was explaining from the business that it's many colors, so it gives you a better resolution to it. We can get a cheaper one, which only has one color, which is really not going to get the effect that you really want to do. You want certain things to stand out, and we're not talking a lot difference in it, you know what I mean? And Jeff was talking about this internet type thing, so it is capable of doing this. What was that else?
And the scrolling?
The scrolling, I'm sorry. We can, it'll be a scrolling, but we can control the amount of time that it'll scroll. It won't be flashing, so somebody has to stop or try to read. Right. As in the meeting, I was saying, we can put something for 30 seconds or 15 seconds. But yes, you can. So it'll come up, tell you what it is, then move on to the other one, and it's a complete circuit going through, so it'll repeat itself several times.
Now, you might have answered this again, I apologize, but would the information, there would be district information as well as just high school, or would it just be?
Oh, no, this is for elementary, this is for anybody, and my thing was that, it would have been great for the band. Scrolling out what the band, what time it was going to be, that kind of thing. Football games, soccer games, whatever it might be, that could be, this Saturday, this Friday, whatever, it could be just one part of it, so you're not limited into just one sign being there, and you can only put a certain thing on it, so it can be scrolling and all that.
And they're dropping it in that structure, or?
Yeah.
Yes, which saves us a lot of money, because to realize that we have a better structure there
It's nice.
than what they have, because all it is just tin going around this thing, and it looks like brick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even, there's pillars inside, of course, to hold up the sign, but it's just a facade going around it. It doesn't, really, so, I think it will work out good, and unless there's somebody on the board that has other suggestions that we might want to look into before we go ahead with this, please let us know tonight, because I'd like to, give the, business administrator the, okay to go with it so we can get it up as soon as possible. I don't want to get it in the middle of next year, because we wasted a year on what our kids want to do.
And then the borough code, we're okay with that, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Two quick questions, Mr. Harms. Number one is that 26,000 including the electric, the conduit underneath
The conduit,
the place, because I remember that was the driver of why that one, the lights weren't working.
well, the conduit is the wiring.
Electrical work would be additional.
Right.
There's a small amount of electrical work that would need to be.
Because power's very there, but does that one go a watch off maybe, and then,
The conduit's there.
then you
But the
don't.
conduit that I thought is what I'm called.
Right, so, I mean, it's something that we might be able to do in-house or whatever it might be, so, I mean, it's there. The 90% of what we need is there already, you know, so the other 10%.
Have we gotten a quote on that at all?
The electrical work, no, but I can get that.
Electrical and internet, or is that Wi-Fi?
No, it's one.
Well, just, you know, you're making it, and I have no problem with spending the 26,000, but we have to understand too, you know, is it 26,000 plus, you know, 2,000 for electrical, or, you know, are we ripping up driveways and, you know, stairs and everything?
Okay,
With
no.
the board's permission, I will get the price for the electrical work, and if it's not
Can I suggest,
thousands of dollars, we could.
can I suggest that if we
I'll
send
send it
that,
to the facilities committee.
if we could send it out when you get that thing, just send it out to everybody, and nobody reply to anything. If you do have a question on that particular amount of monies, reply to Sue herself, okay, no other board member, and if she doesn't receive anything, then she's gonna go with it. I'd like to go with the sign and get it done, because it's gonna take some time for the sign to be made up, okay? Just so we all know, is that we went through the, kind of the same company, okay, gave two quotes, one for the name brand, okay, and the other one is kind of a, I'll give you an example of what they gave Sue, is that you have a Sony, and then you have an LG. That's how they said it. I don't know if there's any big difference, but again, you're paying for the name, so you might pay for a TV, so you might pay $300 more than what this one is, but you get a better picture. The way it was explained, and Mike Estrada said that in reality, you're getting more with the lesser price one. The other one was $32,000. It's $32,000. You're getting more with this one here, because it gives you multi-colors. The other one wasn't given to you, but you're paying up for the name.
Is there a warranty on that?
Yes, there's a warranty, but yes, yes. So that'll be under the contract, when you
Okay.
sign the contract.
Sure.
And I wasn't hesitating, I'm looking forward to the 26, I'm trying to understand all in, what is our cost here?
Right.
From the electrical standpoint, if, you know, it's as simple as our guys being able to make a connection there, but we also thought there was some sort of problem underground.
I thought it was the wiring that was actually broken.
And the
So,
conduit.
and the conduit was, that's what, in 2012, when we looked into this thing here, we thought the problem was that, okay, we can just pull this wire out, you know, whether it's broken in the middle, we can pull it one way, pull it the other, but the conduit was still gonna be good now. And I don't know, you know what I mean? But I don't think there's gonna be any driveways, especially the stairs won't be taken up. That won't, that's.
And then there was one other question we needed, that we had, was around, who's gonna administrate? Because
Sarah, the principal of the high school said that she, back in 2012, said she would administrate, she would take care of it, put everything on there, and all that. She said she did here.
Was willing to get staff.
Because it's a lot of work.
And students, probably
It can be all
students
done
in the
on
STEM
computer.
program.
Then you're gonna have emails coming in from each of the buildings
Yes.
with events and reminders.
We'll have to let it up to them, but Sarah
So
said
they're gonna take it on in the high
Yes,
school office?
yes.
And it's gonna be district-wide though, so.
Absolutely.
Communication can be
Absolutely. Put names up there because it's not on your board and you don't see it from just one side. You know, what I mean, so it'll be scrolling so we can put many things on there, just so it goes through.
So we'll wait for the total cost of electric and any of those other costs.
Well, we're gonna move forward with it though.
Right, well, don't we have to put that on the agenda?
No.
No, we don't have to move
It
forward.
doesn't, because this is not, it's just a big, it's just like when the business administrator goes out and gets a bid for replacing doors or whatever it might be.
Sure.
It's not,
Okay.
it's the threshold, she didn't go over the threshold, it was the
Okay.
threshold that she was going over, then I can see us coming back here and getting the board to approve that expenditure, because if she had to go out and get bids, we have to know what the bids are. Again, this is only quotes that you have to get because it's not over the threshold, and the business administrator is allowed to quote $36,000. She's certified to do that.
We'll approve it on the check. For the bill.
Well, that's what we're going to do. It'll be approved, Chris, in the bill.
Yes, sure. So is everyone comfortable with that? Great. Thank you for your work, Mr. Holmes. Ms. Sobel?
I have two committee reports, one on the Citizens Advisory Committee and one on the Curriculum Committee. With the Advisory Committee, it was just a couple of the highlights that we talked about. All the back-to-school nights were very well attended, and the new security procedures are working well in all of the buildings. The high school had their annual club fair during lunch periods, and a couple of new clubs that were formed this year. One was the debate club, and I was really happy to hear that we're having a debate club now at the high school. Also a homework tutoring club and some video design. And we did talk about this in the advisory committee, the weekend of October 18th to 19th will be 4 centuries in a weekend. And the Roselle Park Museum on Grant Avenue will be open for those 2 days, and the exhibit is featuring World War I. We have the 100-year anniversary of the actual beginning in Europe of World War I. And there were actually several residents' family members that did and were involved in that war. So hopefully some of our students will be able to come over and take a look at the exhibit. Now for curriculum, grades 1 through 8, and this is going along with the balanced literacy program that we have. We are also using supplementary programs for specific reading skills and vocabulary. Teachers are also meeting once a week in professional learning communities to discuss strategies and best practices with their colleagues, and that will be in all of the different areas. We also discussed the AP courses that are available at the high school. The advanced placement courses now being offered at the high school. Okay, there are 7 of them. There's English 4 AP, Spanish 5 AP, French 5 AP, U.S. History 2 AP, Calculus AP, and Biology AP, and Chemistry AP. So there are 7 courses already offered. Now, just for a little background information, in order to offer a new AP course, there are several things that have to come together. First thing is we have to have enough students that would be eligible and want to take the class. And then they would have to have room for it in their schedules. Okay, and the high school tries very hard to work with the students so that they can adjust schedules, but that is a concern. There also must be a teacher that is going to teach the course. And the teacher is required to have AP training. And that's AP training conference during the summer. And they have to write the syllabus for that course at no extra pay. okay? They are doing this, all right, out of, just for their own requirement, really, but they are not being paid for that. And there also has to be room in the teacher's schedule in order to accommodate the course. So there's a lot of things that have to come together to get the AP courses started. Then, of course, the board has to pay for the training facility, okay, which can be like $2,000 or $3,000 depending on its location. And they also have to purchase the textbooks and the equipment that will go along with the course. And if we're talking about a science course, there's a lot of equipment. So that's another consideration that has to be made, that it will cost some money from the board. And I really want to thank Principal Sarah Costa for all of her work, not only in really trying to get all of these courses put together, but she is also working very hard to enable students to dual enroll in NJIT or Kane STEM for college credit. So when the students do meet those requirements, she has been working very hard to get those colleges to work with us in giving those students college credit. And we are one of the only schools in Union County to offer dual enrollment for students. So I think that's something that's really important for people to know. I mean, we are doing a really good job with these things. We just have to let people know we're doing it. And I want to also thank all the teachers that are involved in teaching the AP courses, because it's very involved for them to do it, not only to get it into their schedules, but also the training that they have to go through. So I just want to make sure everybody has that information.
Thank you, Ms. Sokol.
Barbara, that's for Kane, the dual admission? Or
Yeah,
is it also for NJT?
There's three. There's NJIT, Kane, and also a separate Kane STEM program.
Okay, that's good.
Fantastic, that's great news, Ms. Sokol. I mean, it's just raising the bar, continuing to raise the bar at the high school is wonderful, especially all those AP courses. I was at the last Dad's Club meeting, and I ran into Mr. Cyber, who teaches at the high school, and he was telling me that this year he was very excited to tell me that there were 40 students enrolled for the robotics class, and that's just amazing, because I remember how successful they were down in South Brunswick in one of the robotics competitions a year prior. So it's just it's a positive feeling, and it just keeps feeding on itself, and it gets bigger and bigger. So we just have to keep that going, because and communication being the key. So like I said, because we need to tell everyone about the good news that we have in Roselle Park, especially in the high school and elementaries and middle school as well. Thank you, Ms. Silver. Is there anyone else from the report? Mr. Dan?
Say real quick that in December we're going to have our first finance committee get together. Just so we're being active with that. We're going to look over how we're doing this year and going into the future. And just one other thing is I got a note back that 6 o'clock is definitely the start of the marching band. That would be the flag salute, and like you said, 30 to 35 people now. We asked the students for come back and plan. So it should be a sight. Please come out. Thank you.
And that's October 11th.
Saturday.
Yep. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Dan. Now we're on to the superintendent's report, Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Good evening, everyone. I would like to begin by recognizing the efforts of the building principals. I attended the back-to-school nights. They were all extremely successful. They were well attended, and the feedback that I received from the parents was all very positive. The staff was prepared, very professional, and our initiatives were explained to the parents very nicely. And so I'm very proud of the administration and the great job that they did with the back-to-school night. So congratulations and thank you. Also, the month of October, the district is very busy with anti-bullying education, as you may know. This week is being recognized as the Week of Respect. The week of the 20th is being recognized as School Violence Awareness Week. So students in their individual classrooms, guidance counselors, the anti-bullying specialists, they are around the classroom educating students about proper behavior and building character and anti-bullying information. So this is the month that we concentrate and emphasize on teaching good character. I invited Ms. Carlin to come and report during my superintendent's report. A few weeks back, Ms. Carlin came to me with a plan for a program at the middle school level. And when she sent me the information and I read the title, and I read that it was the Junior Achievement Program, which is a financial literacy education program, I immediately emailed her back and I told her that I was very excited that the middle school will be adopting this program. My former district, we had the Junior Achievement Program, and it was very successful. The children got so much out of it. It is aligned to the new Common Core standards. It's something that in my opinion, it's necessary, and the children in the middle school will get so much out of it. And financial literacy, as you know, it's very important as they go into their teenage years and then adult years. So I would like to ask Ms. Carlin to come up and just give a little overview of the program.
I only have one of the binders with me. That was the one that the woman left that was here to show us. It is a financial literacy program. It includes banking. They have a day at JA Biztown, they call it, where we will transport the students there. They actually have a little town set up, and they have a post office and a bank, and different jobs that they'll have, and the different things that they've learned in the classroom, they apply there. So it's also very much aligned to Park and what we feel Park will want from our students. Community and economy, work readiness, the jobs, business management. They have beautiful, I'm just going to pass this around. They have a workbook for each student that they can do. They'll be learning about banking, interest, just the way the economy works. They'll keep a checkbook, and then once they've learned all those things in the classroom, that's when they go to the JA Biztown, and then apply all of that. So I'm very excited about it, and I did want to come so that everybody could see it. And the teachers are required to do 12 lessons. I think one of the big attractions, besides what I feel is just a great program, is that it's totally free. And it's all based on a grant that MetLife Foundation has with Junior Achievement, and that's how they provide all of this at no cost to us. The only cost that we may have is the buses when we have to send the students there, and I believe it's in Sayreville or Somerville where they have this town set up. There is a limit on the students, so we'll probably be making 2 trips, but it will include all of the 6th grade, and the lessons will be done in the social studies classes. Economics is involved there too, so I'm hoping that that would be a good spot for it to start with, and hopefully maybe be able to expand it. They are working on a curriculum for the higher levels. They said really 5th, 6th is about the highest they go, but they are working on a curriculum for the 7th and 8th coming up. So hopefully we can use that in the near future. So I did just make a little copy of what the program is like. These would be the lessons that they do. And they have a trainer come in, and each teacher gets trained. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garland. And one of the things that Ms. Garland did comment on is the Common Core standards. And one of the components of the Common Core standards is real-life learning, and this that goes along with that. So we're trying to encourage that. And again, Ms. Soko's presentation of high school students going to different programs, and that's lifelong, that's real-life learning as well. So I want to thank Ms. Garland for the initiative for this program. It has been around for a long time and is very successful and very popular around the state, and the kids are going to get so much out of it. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, when are you thinking to implement this?
Well,
I know the teachers have to.
I wanted to make sure that it was approved and that everything was going to go through. And then the woman that I spoke to said she can probably be here as early as November. The teachers get their training, and then after that, we can start right away.
Good.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I really do. I got it when I was in, that was in North
Way
6.
back.
Even back in North 6, we had this.
It's been around a long time.
There's no better learning than learning and having fun at the same time.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Ms. Garland.
Do we still have those type of courses at the high school level?
Economics?
The applied economics and the accounting and
That's
stuff?
right.
This is great to start.
And I think it's a nice foundation for when they get to high school. So it really starts well.
Thank you so much. Now we're on to policy portion of the meeting, and I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda item 1, which is district policy second reading. Do I have a motion? Mr. Harms, second. Mr. Ballard, any questions or comments? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Vice President Sokol,
Yes.
Mr. Balaban,
Yes.
Mr. Ruckenstein, Mr. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
I'm not gonna state actually.
Mr. Harms,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
Mr. Vita, President Miller.
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now we're on to personnel. I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 2 through 11, 2 being district substitutes, 3 being additional section, 4 being additional breakfast supervisor personnel, 5 being staff appointments, 6 being additional duty period, 7 being change of assignment, 8 being professional development, 9 being balanced literacy initiative, 10 being ASYC counselor, and 11 maternity leave of absence requests. Ms. Sokol, second. Mr. Nelson, any questions or comments? Roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Vice President Sokol,
Yes.
Mr. Balaban,
Yes.
Mr. Ruckenstein,
Yes.
Mr. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Gerton,
Yes.
Mr. Harms, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Vita, President Miller.
Yes.
On roll call, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. And now we're on to education, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 12 through 15. 12 being education programs, 13 being educational trip requests, 14 being workshop attendance, and 15 being Roselle Park High School marching band. Do I have a motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Nelson and Mr. Dan. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those items are passed. And now we're on to business, where I'd like someone to make a motion to approve agenda items 16 through 22.
I'll move it.
I'm sorry. Revised, I'm sorry.
16B.
Thank you, I'm sorry. To make a motion to agenda items, revised agenda item 16, and then 17 through 22. The revision is 16B. Yes, and that is Millennium Strategies, LLC, to provide grant writing services at $1,000 per month retainer with a $75 an hour fee not to exceed $20,000 for grant writing. A effective November 1st, 2014 through June 30th, 2015. Do I have a motion? Mr. Harms, second. Mr. Burton, any questions or comments? Yes. From item 17, okay. Thank you. Mr. Nelson?
18E for me, please.
18E, okay.
And 19, second part, September 16th.
For Mr. Burton, 19, September 16th. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Those items are approved. And now we're on to continuing business. Actually, yes, continuing business. And that would be, does anyone have continuing business? That's what we want to ask. Since there's no continuing business, then...
Just a question,
Yes.
I'll use this as a question for the high school. Auditorium. Update on the,
The next stage of the auditorium renovation will be the actual putting in the new seats. The date that we just received from the company is October 17th, that the seats should be arriving, and they estimate that it will take about a week or so to install. So we're hoping that means by the end of October, we'll have a brand new auditorium that can be used.
the plates that people have bought over the years, are they going to be put on by this company or
We have to get those made and then will be put on by our custodial maintenance staff. There has to be a location on the seat when the seat is designed for that plate to go in. So it's the actual engraving of the individual plates that takes the time. And when that's finished, we'll be putting them in. It should not be, very long, because those people who donated the money certainly deserve. Right. So I don't estimate that will take a long amount of time.
Have we ordered the plates? The plates are ready, and we just need to screw them in.
Sarah has to get that information from the Friends of Roselle Park to the engraver to get that done. Certainly. Totally agree with you, and I'll check with Sarah tomorrow to see the progress on that. But the Friends of Roselle Park had all of that information.
Is there still time to donate?
Yes, it will be.
They won't take any more.
I believe that their basket is open forever. In all seriousness, I believe that the Friends of Roselle Park intention is to remain an ongoing group to continue to raise funds for the Roselle Park School District, for the children, for whatever project they deem is important at the time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone with new business? Seeing there is none, we'll go to the second public participation portion of the meeting. If you'd like to speak on any subject, please come forward, state your name and address, and what you'd like to speak on.
Jacob McGarrett, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Park. I'd like to direct the questions to Mr. Holmes. Wasn't the sign discussed about 2 years ago?
Yes, it was, Jake. Yes.
And what happened then?
We had a big discussion of where we would place it. And then it came to be financially at that time, not a feasible time to do it. We have now saved some money basically on the boiler and some other items that we have used it, as you know, in the budget, we had this lease purchase monies that we took. And to be honest with you, straight out, if we don't get it this particular time, we're not going to be able to get it in the future. That's why we're using it to, some of this to do the auditorium, to fix it up, make it look good for our kids. The town, I think we need a sign out there. So it was brought up, but we kind of dropped it. We brought it back up again because I think it's time.
Why was it dropped? Because of the cost.
It was on the location of it. That's all. Basically, that's what it was. And then, after the time, the monies wasn't there, and we just kind of dropped it. We brought it back up again.
Handicap parking spaces. Do we have them at all the schools?
There at the high school.
Wherever there is a parking lot, there are handicap
Well,
spaces.
Sherman has one that's on the street.
And so is Aldi.
Yeah.
So is Aldi.
They all have.
Middle school is on the side, they can go in the parking lot, 2 handicaps, parking spots are right there.
Alvin, you have it on the street?
Yes, yes,
It's like every one.
yes, right. It was approved by the police department, same thing on Colfax Avenue across the street from the complex.
Well, it's a federal law.
No, what we're saying is that when you put it on the street, okay, it has to be approved by the police department to give you that spot, not the, we know it's the law, okay, but we don't want cars in the area with the children.
Well, it would be very difficult for a person, a handicapped person, for attending the outdoor school, to go up the front steps. And it would be very difficult for the person to come on the street and then go in the back way.
Why, you know where the handicap ramp is?
That's where
That's where the handicap ramp is.
That's the entrance.
That's the entrance in the back there on the side. Yeah, it's on the side street, not on the main street.
Myrtle.
It's on Myrtle, not on
So too, it's not by the traffic light.
No. Sorry, I didn't realize it, somewhere.
How many students attend the charter school in Scotch Plains?
Jake, I don't have those numbers, but I do have them in my office. If you want to call the board office, we will have those numbers for you.
To need clarification of exactly what Jacob is
Talking about, do you really mean charter school in Scotch Plain, or do you mean the county school, magnet schools in Scotch Plain? The Union County magnet schools? Okay, I will get you those numbers now that I understand which one.
The school's not the VOTEC.
No, Magnet School students.
Well, VOTEC is part of that complex. I will get them all of the numbers, including the locational school.
And what is the name of that school again? They call it, not charter.
Magnet schools, the county, the Union County magnet schools at Scotch Plains. There are 5 facilities located there. And I will get you the numbers at each one of those 5 facilities that are Roselle Park residents. Yes, I can have those for you tomorrow.
And who pays for the busing?
Roselle Park School District must provide busing for them, and we also pay tuition for them. That's part of our budget. We have to pay tuition and we have to provide them with transportation. That's part of our budget.
And the children, the students that you were discussing a couple of meetings ago, I think there's 9 or 10 of them that you're starting a program with.
You mean the SciTech?
The SciTech program at Roselle Park High School, yes.
Yes.
There are students, freshmen, sophomore, and juniors. We started the program a few years ago, and each year, new classes added. So more students come in each year to that program.
About 9 or 10.
At the average.
I think that's about
Yeah, that's an
the
average.
average. Yeah. I can get you those exact numbers as well tomorrow.
That's an average number in each grade, so that's a total probably 30 students involved. 30 students involved,
Good.
yes.
It stayed in my mind 9 or 10.
That's in each grade.
Each grade.
Each grade.
Each grade.
9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 10 in each of those, so that would make 30 total. You're welcome.
But Jake, also not only do we pay for transportation and the tuition, as a bonus, we don't, those children that go there, we don't get credit on for state aid for that child who lives in Roselle Park. We send them out. So we don't get that. That doesn't help us towards our aid numbers as far as the state aid that we get financially. So, which isn't a good thing, which is why we're building up our, hopefully building up our evening courses, our robotics, and to really make Roselle Park High School an attractive alternative. Sure, thank you. Seeing there's no one else, we'll close the second public participation portion of the evening. And now we're going to go into a workshop with our New Jersey School Board's representative, Mrs. Gwen Thornton. Mrs. Carlin, you're more than welcome to go off into the night and enjoy your evening. Thank you for coming and presenting the report. We have that binder for you. Mr. Brown's going to be done about